Oh, hi guys. It's so nice to thank you so much for the invite. But I do have to mention, like, this is something that's very relatable to wrestlers. Is every time I hear my entrance music, I get a little sweaty. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but like, I don't hear it in my daily life, and then I hear it, and it just conjures a lot of like, I don't have my boots on feelings.
Oh my God, my music playing. I gotta get to the
Where's
ring.
my knee
See,
pads?
That's very interesting. That's very interesting to me because I used to work with Shannon Sharp, who played in the NFL, and he told me that he would always listen to "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins every day before a game. He would listen to that song. So coming back from a break, we played that song, and he actually started like hyperventilating before, like, because it brought him back to those moments when he played. So let me ask you: is there certain things, like you said, the entrance theme, that music, that brings you back to those moments before you would go to the ring?
Oh my gosh, always. I mean, and I have to like just point to Royal Rumble, not like coincidentally, but the moment you were just playing, with the Great Khali, like I remember standing behind the curtain and like it was an out of body experience. And there's a funny story to my ring entrance, for that particular moment because I would imagine like in a moment like that, I was a surprise, a woman being in the men's Royal Rumble, like I would soak that in. But I was so hyped up and just like I was just in this like space where I was floating. So I just did like the fastest 50-yard dash you could ever imagine and just kind of sprinted to the ring just because it was just such a like moment in my emotional state that I just had no choice but to like tear out of there and rip. But hearing my music in that moment, like I said, it still gives me like some jitters and just these feelings from like standing right behind the curtain in that like real serenity, the 3 seconds before boom you hear it and go out.
Your lips still sprained from kissing Khali? Because every spot that I ever did with him hurt.
So yes, so I mean it's barely a kiss, it's more like a headbutt. And it's so funny, like speaking of Santino, of Anthony, apparently during the day, as a way to rib me, all the boys were encouraging Khali to go eat these cloves of garlic so that when we went in for the kiss, that it would be something I'd never forget. And so when we go to do the kiss, and like I said, he smashed me in the face and he rolls out of the ring, he's spitting and wiping his mouth. And I'm like, buddy, it wasn't that great for me either. He's like, oh, yuck, yuck. I'm like, dude.
Oh my God. So
Oh my
good.
God. I didn't
That's
know
so
about the
good.
garlic cloves thing. That's so funny.
It was a thing.
That's right up there with Mae Young putting the tuna fish in her pants before she went out and gave the stink face to Eric Bischoff.
That's hilarious.
Y'all never heard that?
Stop
No.
Oh
it.
my gosh. Listen, man.
That's legendary.
I've been a part. I've been a part of some
legend
great
stuff
ribs.
right there.
But hey, if you go back and look at it, Eric is like this.
Oh my
Like he's
gosh.
trying to get out of there. And he can't get
He
away.
can't escape.
Can't get away.
That May, like Adam,
That's hilarious.
Adam had to do a kiss with May. He told me about. We went back and watched it. And he's like thinking it's going to be like like a TV kiss. Oh no, May went for it, and he was like, "Oh, okay."
She'll kiss you.
Oh, I kissed May too.
She kissed me.
She kissed me.
That reminds me when my second wife ribbed me by saying I do. So Beth, for you, and again, we throw this word around a lot, legend, and you are in multiple Hall of Fames, like what you've done for the business, what you've done for women's wrestling, what you've done for wrestling in general. It's, again, when you look at the landscape of women's wrestling, let's just say right now in the WWE, where there is a women's Royal Rumble now that we could talk about and break down, like in a lot of ways, what you were able to do in your career, you did change the landscape a lot for women's wrestling. Do you understand what you've been able to bring to this business when you look back on it now?
Oh, well, I understand that I was a part of a whole, you know, like, and Mickie was right there with me, so she knows too. Like, we all had our real specific roles, which at that time was in such like a little microcosm. I don't know if that's a word, but you know, a little environment where there was just very, very few of us. So we all had to really kind of find a niche and stick to it and fight hard. You know, we fought for time, we fought for opportunities, and then we had the added pressure of like, and I know today's girls understand this too. Okay, now you're awarded these opportunities that prior generations wanted. Well, we don't want to mess it up. We want to go out and show out so that, you know, we're validated for saying we deserve this and we want this. And
Mhm.
so I just think that's just been like an uphill climb over the years. I'm really proud to have been like a little step along the way, and a part of all of that. But you know, I think like sometimes the diva term and the whole that era gets a lot of disparaging comments. And I hate
Mhm.
that because it was really all of us doing the best we could with what we were given,
Right.
and everybody worked their butts off. So I'm really, really happy that we've come so far, because I know that maybe Mickie feels this way too. We were so tired of this and the first that and the first women's Hell in the Cell. It's like now everyone just looks forward to the women as performers. I feel like we're pretty close to the same level as what they look forward to in the men, and we bring something really special to the table. So again, it's like it's a group of us. It's not any one of us, but I'm really proud that I got to work with so many generations of great girls over the years.
Yeah.
Cosm, chasm, it don't matter, Beth.
Chasm,
But
microchasm,
we Cosm, but it don't
chasm.
matter. We
Thank you, Mark.
we talked about this right before you came on as it relates to Mickie and your significance in pro wrestling, and both of you women, like I respect the hell out of y'all because of I remember y'all fighting those fights. I was there. I remember it. I saw it firsthand. Some of the verbal conversations, like I don't want to do that no more. Like um, I appreciated Beth the first this and the first that because I seen the advancements of black people in America and the women's rights movement and the gay rights movements mirror the civil rights movements. And it's cool to see the first Hell in a Cell match for women. It's cool to see the first ladder match to me. I respect it and I appreciate it. And you don't have to delegate yourself to in the 40s and 50s the tar and feather matches for black people, and women don't have to do damn bra and panty matches no more, and all wrestling and that kind of shit. So like I understand that and I appreciate those moments. I don't think that commonality is always equal, and I hope you don't understate that because I think it's important to have the first.
Yeah, I mean, without the first, we couldn't have the second, right? And it also takes a
Right.
lot of bravery and courage to go out there and be willing to fail. And I think like there was a lot of stumbles along the way. It was not this perfect linear, like, here we go. There were some moments where we're like, oh, like, you know, Mickie and I would have an opportunity on a live event to have a 20-minute match that would have the people on their feet. And then we come to TV and it'd be like, okay, you got 2 minutes. So, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it was a lot of this. It wasn't just
Yeah.
Let me
boom.
throw you a bone before TV.
Can I
Well,
just
and
say, Beth, that one of the matches that I still quote that match as one of my favorite matches of all time in Fairbanks, Alaska. I believe it was in Fairbanks, Alaska when we came back and we had like 20 minutes and the entire locker room was on their feet. Arn, Rick, Hunter, uh, Cena, everybody there was giving us a standing ovation. And I can't remember if we came back to TV and it was like a water gun fight or a lingerie pillow
yeah.
fight or something like that. That was like, but um, you're I just it's hard because Mark was just saying this too, and we're so humbled and like we kind of underplay that significance or like those things and our roles in that thing so a lot of times because it was like a mountain of people that made those things happen, both male and female. I mean, Fit fought for us so hard and we'd fight with Fit. Can you imagine now, because I just started working with OVW again, right? So I've gone
Mm.
back there, and so it's very humbling because you walk in the doors And I remember I'm like sitting there and I go like, that was my seat right there in that second stand in that second tier or whatever. Think back to, I mean, baby Phoenix, baby Fire Buzzard, and like the things like from, that 2004, 2005, 2006 and Louisville, Kentucky, like just praying for an opportunity to things to where that, like, could you imagine telling yourself the career that you've had now and where you sit on this other side of it as being one of the most well-respected women in the industry, certainly of this era, like,
Well, I know, Mickie and I had matches very early in our career together. I think I was maybe 19 or 20 and we got to work the first time. But in OVW, I think like, we were, myself in particular, I was not in the vein of the mold that they were looking for at the moment. And it was almost detrimental to have some independent experience at that time, because I think they were worried we would have habits that they couldn't train out of us, or there might be like, I clearly didn't have the look as at like the current brand was looking for. So I was trying really hard to like sexualize myself and like wear sexier things and try to tap into that side of me, but it was really inauthentic because I don't feel like I have that aura. So it was a struggle while I was there to find myself. But I think once I got to a good balance where I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable wearing this cat suit. I think it's sexy, but it's sexy in my way. But I still want to try with whatever opportunity I'm given to like have a good match. And I was actually thinking about this was unrelated, but I was thinking about it when I got to see Mark today and we were mentioning OVW. I had a big moment where I'd been using as a valet for a long time, but I'd get little flashes of you get to take this bump or you get to do this. I got to spear Seth Skyfire, little things. And there was a big moment. Yeah. There was a big moment I remember where I was kind of like getting noticed and I was going to get super kicked off the apron by our beloved Matt Capitelli. And I was so hyped up and so excited that I wanted to take this huge bump. So I got super kicked off the apron and I missed the apron and I landed like on my face, like on my head, like almost like a moonsault. And it was a very scary, ugly bump. And I was like, oh, I started moving. I'm like, I'm okay. I think it looked good. I don't know. And then I opened my eyes and Mark Henry's standing over me because apparently in the back, it looked so scary. It looked bad. Mark thought I broke my neck. So during TV, Mark came out. I don't know if you remember this, Mark, and
I do remember.
You busted right through that curtain to check on me. And I
show
always,
at that point.
I remember that. And I always had such gratitude for you, like just seeing somebody that, a young person, again, like myself, that was trying so hard and trying too hard. And Mark was there as such a great support. And I never got to tell that story. And I was like, this is a good opportunity. But that's the teamwork. And it wasn't just women fighting for women. It was so many of the guys saw us hungry and wanting more and would speak up on our behalf. So it's not just a gender divide in that respect.
Yeah.
Beth, when you look back at the Royal Rumble, it's not just the moments within the Royal Rumble, but just 2 years ago in St. Louis, and what was it, in front of 45, 50,000 people, you teaming with your husband against Miz and Maurice. Like, you think about that, and here you are, you get the opportunity to perform in front of tens of thousands of people, but you're also doing it with your husband by your side. Like, that's gotta be, like, that's an exclamation point on a career right there when you're able to accomplish something like that.
Yeah, and I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but that was so special on so many levels. One, it was the most fun I think I've ever had in wrestling. Just because every week Adam and I were coming out and it was just clicking. Like I didn't, sometimes when you work with your real life partner, it's not always chemistry on screen. And I was just so happy that we were having a lot of fun and I'm always intimidated because Adam, he's worked with a lot of incredible women over the years. I'm like, what if I'm like the big dud in all this and this is terrible?
Oh God.
Well, I was just concerned that, on screen we would be really awkward and it'd be weird, but he just made it such a fun experience that every week I was actually really sad when we got to the match because I knew it was all over. But the fun part was our kids got to go. And so we had family members, my brother, we had, our nanny's family was there. We had just all of our family and the kids were there and got to see us perform for the first time. And we just kind of had a feeling in the moment that it was going to be a one-time opportunity. or to gather everybody like that. And so it was really special. And it was also a really fun match because Miz and Maurice were just so committed to entertaining that every week. Oh my God, they're just so good. It was a lot of fun.
Guys, I just had an idea. You know, I'm a solutions guy. I'm an idea guy. I dream big. I think that Busted Open should go to Louisville one Wednesday, and we have a show that's a reunion show. And
that would be
have
cool.
all of us tell stories and have us, you know, work with Al and them on some matches, put guys together with new people and so forth. But the biggest thing is the reunion, because I was at an appearance and you mentioned Seth Skyfire, and I just thought of all these stories. And this guy comes up and taps me on the shoulder, and I look at him and he's blind. And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on, man? You want an autograph?" And he says, "Mark, it's me." And I went, where do I know you from? And he goes, "Okay, I gained a few pounds and I'm blind now, but this is Smooth Johnny Spade." And I went, "What?" I said, "What happened, man?" He said, "Man, it's just a hereditary thing. Like me and my family, you know, like they have eye issues, and I lost my sight about 2 years ago." And I went,
"Wow,
bro, I'm so sorry." And he said, "Man, don't." He said, "I lived, bro." He said, "I can still see everything that happened to me in my life." And I went, oh, boy, I just started crying. It was so good to see him. You know, so we need to have that reunion, and it would be great for pro wrestling. It'd be great for OVW. It would be great for all the parties involved, for the future of wrestling and the legacy of that era, because you think about the Hall of Famers that came through there, the Cenas and Batistas and Randy and Lashley's and Shelton Benjamin and Mickie James, Beth Phoenix, Mark Henry, Big Show. Like, I mean, there's about 20 Hall of Famers that came through that place. And the Jack Blacks and Kenny Boldens and guys.
Kenny Bolden's still there.
Spades.
You know he's still
there.
Is
he still there?
He's got that discount to the Golden Corral, too, if you still want it.
Let's go. You know, like, but it's like all of that stuff, man. Like, there's guys that Scotty Saber, you know, people that nobody will never know those guys.
Johnny
and that'll
Jeter.
Be a way for us. Yeah, Johnny
Sex
Jeter
Pants.
Was so good.
Chris Cage.
Oh, so good, man. Hollywood.
If you could, baby.
Good, baby. Like, I mean, it's like those people need to get some light too, and that'd be a way to do it. Trailer Park Trash, who was so good. So good. Cousin Crazy, who they legit used to check out of an insane asylum so he could come and wrestle. I mean,
yeah.
Like, there was
story that went characters on. For sure.
Well, and you know,
that would be such a good thing for
that would be amazing.
To do.
And speaking to that, Mark, too, like I think about this, it's more than just coming back to visit, you know, wrestlers and say like, okay, this is how you apply a hammerlock. It's, you know, we all have 20 some years of life experience too, and navigating life after wrestling and in wrestling and families. And I think that this generation has a unique opportunity that it's important to like have a conversation on mental health and keeping ourselves healthy and safe while navigating all this. And I think that, you know, I think that's a nice open discourse that wasn't available 20 years ago when we were all, no, I'm perfect, everything's fine. You know, everybody's trying to maintain a real tough exterior at all times. And I like that now more conversation can be had when we need each other to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, that just warmed my heart just even thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about the mental health side of it too, Beth, but like you've gone on to go to school and go to college, and now you're an incredible mom, incredible wife. Like, what is up with the world of Beth Phoenix, and where is she going? And is she coming to OVW to come hang out?
I love that idea. I would absolutely. I love that idea of, bringing in some veterans with experience to kind of talk about just the business in general and how it's changed in many ways for the better. But my life is great. I'm kind of in supportive mom role, and I spend a lot of time at my kids' school volunteering, but in a lot of different ways, because my beautiful career gave me the opportunity to invest a lot of my energy into my kids, and I've enjoyed doing that so much. So that's where I'm at. Mom and
Yeah.
hard.
Your Director of Authority, Hard to Kill, just happened 2 weeks ago. What a great show. What a great rebranding for TNA. And I know you're very happy and very proud of everything that's going on with TNA right now.
Yeah, we always talk about the moments, and that night in Las Vegas, God, what a moment, man. The camaraderie, the atmosphere in the locker room is like we are the Cinderella team on a crazy playoff run, and everyone's just buzzing and hugging each other and proud of each other, and trying to outwork each other, but collectively outwork everybody. And so, as you guys know, Nick Nemeth showed up, and I got a chance to give him my take on what's happening here and just hype him up and kind of further cement the fact that he made the right decision. And with regards to his legacy, it was, man, it's awesome there. Honest to God, I saw Tyler Breeze yesterday, and I was just saying this. I've been there for 1 year, and this company completely reignited my passion for professional wrestling, and it's everybody, it's every single person there, from the makeup people to the marketing team to the writers to the locker room. It's a real synergy taking place, and everybody's adding to it, and then the sum of the parts is greater than the individual, whatever the definition is. But it's awesome, man. It really truly is awesome.
And just to, man, I got to tell you, just to see the excitement on your face, the energy, the passion, talking about TNA. And I'm sure, like, you didn't know going in what it was going to be like. But, I mean, I hate keep saying this because I want to see it go on from this. But a lot of people say that TNA is kind of like the best kept secret in pro wrestling. Everybody needs to know how good this company is because the wrestling is second to none. They have some amazing wrestlers and some amazing stars. The programming is great each and every Thursday night on Access TV. And this day and age where people don't rely on cable and, they stream, you can stream it. It's available on YouTube. It's available on TNA Plus. Like, there's so many different ways to see the great action of TNA wrestling right now.
Yeah, the way people consume the product is changing, right? People stream it, but there's still that stamp of approval you need from a big television network. That's the only missing piece, and they're working on it. And once we get on a channel that everyone can see, that's when we're going to change gears and blow up to the next level. And it's like everyone wants to be a part of it when that happens. It's like buying the stocks before the company blows up. You want to be there during that transition, and because it's going to be history, and it's going to happen. I'm very confident it's going to happen. Everyone's confident it's going to happen, and you want to be a part of it when it happens, not a week later. You got to be there during that moment.
Anthony, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. Brilliant minds. Man, we're in the Rumble season.
Yes.
And you have had some historical Rumble moments. I want to hear your opinion on which one do you look at as being your best.
I'll tell you. Well, the record of getting eliminated the quickest is my favorite, and it's because it kind of it sums up my, not just my personality, my mentality and my mindset. There were times where I was given lemons and I made lemonade, and that was like a perfect example because so during the production meeting they kind of said, okay, you're coming out number whatever it is, 16, 17, I can't remember, but it's going to be quick. Just so you know, it's going to be quick. And then I said, okay, no problem. Can we try and break the record? And then I believe it was Dean Malenko was like, let me get back to you. And later in the day, came back and gave me the thumbs up and said, yep, you're approved to try and break the record. And then we had to break down like the technique to maximize the efficiency of getting up and going over and all that stuff. And then became nervous because everyone is like, dude, you can't mess up. You mess up one step, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. So we executed it pretty well. And then it's the gift that keeps on giving, because at this time of year, my people are texting me videos and it was even used for the Aaron Rodgers meme thing when he got hurt. People were using that Rumble like he wasn't ready. So yeah, it makes me feel like I'm really still a part of it.
This funny thing to me is I've been in the ring for 28 minutes in Rumbles, and I feel like you got it right. Hell, I'm the one in there ribbing myself being in there 20 plus minutes, and I could have went out in 1 second.
I got paid
Damn it.
$27 million. I got paid $27 million an hour for that Rumble, but it only worked 1 second.
It's funny that you mentioned that one, and you're right. It's always going to be remembered. It's impossible to break that record. I mean, you can't beat 1 second. But it's we'll see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe. But then I think of 2011, and now it's the opposite of that moment that you're talking about. Because now in 2011, you're in there with Alberto Del Rio. You're one of the last two in the ring. And man, everybody in that arena and everybody watching at home wanted to see you win the 2011 Royal Rumble. So tell me what it was like being in the ring when you're one of the last two and everybody is rooting for you to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, well, as my head starts peeking up and people start noticing, it takes a second for someone to say, look, and then they have to explain, like, he wasn't eliminated, and then the collective, like, excitement building up, like, no way. The only thing, of course, I look back, I want to tweak something. The time I spent between the Cobra and then trying to eliminate him, that was like a smidge too long, where it was like, if you do your finisher to somebody, you have to give it, and they're going to kick out. You give them a little extra beat to kind of justify that kick out type thing. We kind of did that, right? If I tried to eliminate him a little quicker, I believe the believability would have been stronger right to the last minute. A little bit too much celebration where somebody may have said, he's celebrating too long. He's not going to win. That's the thing. But that's like me just nitpicking, every last step.
Yeah, you picking nits.
But what's funny? I just showed my son last week that moment. He looked at me like, what the, like, how'd you lose that? But I do like, if I do conventions or I do a signing and I meet fans, they always tell me how they experienced that moment. And, especially older guys now, and they'll be like, yeah, my friends and I, we all thought you were going to main event WrestleMania. We all kind of had a collective, like, okay, we're okay with this. This is good, and then they just, we swerved them, obviously. Yeah. The transition and rotation at the last minute was pretty smooth. I'll give it to Del Rio and I. It was a nice little, reversal.
Little do-si-do.
Santino, you just mentioned your son, your daughter, killing it right now in NXT. One of the most popular performers in NXT right now, Ariana Grace, and she's doing such a great job on Tuesday nights for that NXT brand. I remember having a conversation with you about her growth as a performer, but now you're seeing it take place, and now you're seeing her in she was just in a big, main event match with Roxanne Perez. Like, talk about like just the pride that you must have watching her grow as a wrestler, as a performer, taking a character as well to that next level. Because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's one thing to be a great wrestler. It's another thing to be a great character and personality. Just talk about that and how proud you must be.
You guys are going to make me cry in like 2 seconds, man.
I knew it. I knew it.
I saw your smile. I go, did he tell you to say this? No, it's amazing, and she's funny and she's entertaining, and her work rate is she's coming off the injury. Her in-ring wrestling is it's good, man. Like the only thing she's a very hard worker. So those like it's reversed. So a lot of kids they get the move, they want to do all these moves, and then they learn the character stuff later. She learned the character stuff first because she just naturally had that, and now she's really fine-tuning the wrestling, and the wrestling that her level of wrestling now is good enough she can get called up tomorrow and she'd be fine. I don't want her to, but I'd like for her to simmer for another year. But yeah, it's awesome watching her, and what's even more important to me is that when I go, like we were in Orlando this weekend, and everyone that works with her comes up to me and they're like, she's just a breath of fresh air in the performance center. Her attitude is great. She's a hard worker. Everyone loves her, and that's even more important than how well she's doing. But yeah, it turns out she's pretty funny. I don't know where the hell she got that from, but
I wonder where she got that from. Santino, I remember when she was maybe 1, and you handing her to me and me holding her and her playing with my hair and all of that kind of stuff, and then fast forward, I guess she was 17, and you called me and you said, "Hey man, Bianca is coming to a camp. Mark, you got to see this picture." And you sent me a photo, and I went, "Who is that?" And you said, "That's Bianca." And I went, "Get the hell out of here." He said, and you started crying. You was like, "Man, she's a woman now." You remember that?
Yeah, it's
my God.
She's my trigger where I just get upset just because I was so young when I had her, and we've been through a lot together, and she came to my first wrestling match, and she just came with me to Japan for a month, and she came with me to Louisville for a month, and she's been to Manias, and she's been on the road, and she was my little ride or die buddy, and now to see her, she got her degree. That's the deal, right? You get your degree. She got her biology degree, and now it's it's the greatest adventure. I saw Triple H one time talking to a new class of recruits, and saying, if you get this gig, it's going to be the most fun and the greatest adventure you ever had in your life. And I'm like, how can you not want your kid to have the greatest adventure they ever had in their life? So I'm just loving it. I'm like
it's beautiful
anything,
to watch.
It's beautiful to watch, man. It's like, I try and tell her, listen, if you're gonna get called up and big things are gonna happen, like, try and make it a surprise for me, if she's having a match and I see the camera guys start creeping up, I know something's gonna go down. But yeah, I just can't wait to experience success as a dad, and go to WrestleMania just as a dad, and just walk around like how my dad used to walk around at Mania, and just enjoy it. Yeah.
You know what? You just said something that I'm sure Dave, it went by Dave, because Dave is a super fan. And we talk about it all the time, the difference between being a fan and actually being a wrestler. It's hard to get us. You want it to be a surprise. I want it to be a surprise, but a lot of times I see it because you said, there's about to be a moment when you see the cameraman creep up.
They're gonna.
And there's little bitty things that are instinctive that happen that lead you to the next thing. There have been finishes that I've been involved with that change because I just felt like, oh man, this is giving it away.
Yeah.
And I would change it. And the guy would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, just go with it. Yeah.
You're responsible for one of the freaking biggest swerves. I told you you had me crying in my living room when you gave the goddamn retirement speech. That's a legendary swerve. But I just don't want it to be known like I don't want it to be known like, hey, watch this. Want to see him cry in 2 seconds? Ask him about his daughter. Where it's going to be a thing, right? Everyone sees, and I feel
my
like
God.
right? But yeah.
People don't know how close we are, and I love you like a brother, and I've seen your development, and if anybody can do that, it's me. Hey man, just zoom in on his face and mention his daughter or mention his son. Mention his son.
Oh God.
Like when you see somebody love their kids, we all love our kids. We want to punch them in the chin sometimes, but there's nobody that loves them like we do. Like I just know when you mention, sometimes you do the Santino Marella.
Yeah.
Put your fist to your mouth. Like I know that it's real, and that's beautiful. It's just beautiful to watch y'all, man.
Yeah, it's a wicked time in my life, man. When your kids are successful, it's like the ultimate form of success for yourself. And then I have my youngest is 2.5, and she's the firecracker of the group, man. So I get to do it, all over again. And yeah, Marco has jiu-jitsu and wrestling. It's awesome, man. I just love being dad. Well, Marco's 5, but Milena's 2.
Oh, 5.
Yeah, he's 5.
I want to thank you so much for jumping on with us. I know you're super busy today and you have a lot going on. So, taking the time but thank you so much. Good luck with everything. And again, we're watching TNA. We talk about it each and every week here on Busted Open, and you give us a lot to talk about. So thank you so much for taking the time today.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure. Where's Beth Phoenix?
She's coming on in about 30 minutes.
I thought we were going to be on at the same time. No, I'm just kidding. Speaking of somebody I love, God, that woman is just what a treasure she is, man. Send her my regards. She's the best.